Hello, I am Curtistene McCowan, your Mayor Pro Tem for the City of DeSoto. Joining me today to discuss the upcoming Warrant Roundup is our Municipal Court Judge, Scott Kurth. Welcome, Judge Kurth.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you. And we're also joined by our City Marshal, Gina Medlin. Welcome, Gina.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Judge Kurth, I'm going to start with you. Please share with us, what is the Warrant Roundup?
It is a collaborative effort among 300 law enforcement agencies throughout the state of Texas that seeks to, during the Warrant Roundup period, this year it's March 7th through the 23rd, and during that period, the law enforcement agencies are collaborating to clear as many warrants possible out of our municipal courts and justice courts in the state of Texas that are participating in the Warrant Roundup. It is an important effort because it is visible, and generally it has tremendous success for each of the courts who participate. And I'm proud to say that DeSoto Municipal Court has been an active participant over the last many years as I can recall. We've done very well during that period. In fact, this last year I think we cleared 634 warrants during that 1 week period, which is a tremendous effort.
It is. It is indeed. Just as a follow-up to that, what types of warrants are being cleared during the Warrant Roundup?
We have two basic types of warrants. One is an alias warrant, also called a capious warrant, but most people know them as alias. Those are warrants where people have failed to come to court and answer the citation that was issued to them by the police officer. Then we have capious pro fine warrants. Those are warrants where the defendant has already been found guilty either through a trial by jury or by the judge, or they have pled guilty and simply failed to pay the fine amounts. So those are those capious pro fine warrants are simply, they're delinquent. They have to be paid.
Okay. And when does this Warrant Roundup start, Judge?
It starts on March 7th,
Okay.
and it will run throughout that entire week until March, or 2 weeks, excuse me, until March 23rd.
Is there any particular reason why it starts March 7th and runs through March 23rd?
Excellent question. The reason is because the municipal courts and the justice courts and law enforcement want to take advantage of the income tax refund season, where people are more flush with cash and able to resolve their cases. In fact, most municipal courts in Texas see a significant increase during this period. I think, too, prompted not only just by the mere fact that people have more ready cash available from their income tax refunds, but also because they're prompted by the inherent threat of the Warrant Roundup that they might be on the list of people who are being sought by law enforcement for not taking care of their citations.
And Judge, this period is very important, and we can't emphasize enough why it is so important. Any other comments you'd like to share about that?
Well, the whole point of the Warrant Roundup is to clear warrants, but I want to emphasize that the goal of our court is to clear warrants through citizen participation. It's not our desire to have 1,000 people arrested during that week. We would rather have 1,000 people coming to court and taking care of their delinquent citations, taking advantage of the payment plans that are available, the deferred dispositions to keep any convictions off their record, and avoiding the imposition of surcharges, which can have a draconian effect on the future lives of our defendants and those dependents that depend upon those defendants for support. Fathers who don't pay their tickets for no insurance, for example. If they get arrested and they get convicted, it's a $250 surcharge for each conviction for no insurance, and that's $250 a year for 3 years for each conviction. So these things tend to add up, and of course if you get a conviction for a moving violation like speeding, running a red light, failure to stop at a designated point, you can actually get a point, 2 points on your driving record, and when you get over 5 points, you end up with a surcharge. And given the fact that many people end up with a number of tickets issued to them after each stop, many of our citizens can find themselves in the unfortunate position of having to pay surcharges. But if they will come down, reason with me, we can, I promise you, we can find a solution to these cases that will enable them to reach a payment plan that they can pay, and let's clear these cases so that the cases themselves can be dismissed. I start from the philosophy of yes. If can I have a deferred? Yes. Can I have a way to avoid a surcharge? Yes. I start with yes until the wisdom of no shouts out the yes.
And is that when you say draconian versus you start with yes, is that what that really
Absolutely.
means?
I want to avoid the impact of surcharges on our citizens. It is a harsh remedy. The legislature didn't consult me when the Driver Responsibility Act was passed, but I took an oath to enforce it, and I do enforce it, and the state enforces it. And we have a plethora of drivers out there who are driving without licenses or who are driving with invalid licenses because they got a conviction, they didn't take care of it, they didn't pay the fine, or they didn't pay the surcharges. And for example, if you get 2 driving with license and valid convictions, it's a mandatory suspension of your driving privileges for 1 year. I mean, these things tend to snowball. And of course, people have to drive. I mean, they've got to go to work. They've got to go buy food for themselves and their families. So what do? They break the law. The point is, we want to avoid the imposition of these horrific sanctions on people by telling folks, just come on down. I'm here every day at 10:30. I'm happy to meet with you. No one will be arrested at the courthouse here at 211 East Pleasant Run. No one will ever be arrested who comes to talk to me to try and resolve their cases.
Well, and just to be perfectly honest about it, I think the recommendation of our city manager to have a full-time judge on staff and then to have a marshal on staff and the council's approval of that was one of the best decisions we've made, because it does give more access, and it's just a service to the citizens of this community. They have access to you, and in turn, we're holding people accountable for some of the things that they've done, and expect them to actually come in. You're saying they can come in to see you during the day. You're here all day, so there's really there are no excuses, are there, Judge?
Well, there really aren't, and we have provided. Marshal can talk about her methods in trying to reach payment plans with defendants, and then she passes those on to me. But we have provided our citizens in the last year and a half with a multitude of modes of payment. They can pay through trafficpay.com. They can come up to the court every day, see me if they want to talk about their case. They can make payment at the window. They can make payment online. We have our own payment system in DeSoto. In fact, they don't even have to come to court if they want to just take care of their case online. If somehow they're out of town or they're unavailable, we have provided them with every avenue to resolve their case to their satisfaction in light of the unfortunate issuance of a citation, which nobody likes.
Well, speaking of issuing citations, I'd like to bring Marshal Medlin into our conversation. Can you tell us, Marshal Medlin, what special preparations have been made for the impending Warrant Roundup?
Yes, ma'am. I've been working closely with all of our cities here locally, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, Red Oak, working with them and locating defendants either through their residence or their place of employment. We also utilize Linebarger and Associates. They promote for us on billboards that you see along the highways. And also we make phone calls advising individuals what they can do as far as coming in there and taking care of their tickets. And
you're also putting up signs around the city, are you not?
Right. Yes, we're also putting up signs letting individuals know where they can come in to take care of their warrants. like he said, the trafficpay.com, or also through the city here, coming into the courts and speaking with the judge.
Thank you for that. And I know that there are some incentives for them taking care of these warrants coming in to pay, and they have all of these opportunities to do it. And so are there any other incentives you'd like to mention?
Just that we can assure you that if you come in here and you're trying to resolve these issues, that the judge has a standing order that we shall not arrest on these. If you're here trying to take care of them and get these in order, he's able to offer payment plans, deferred as well, deferred adjudication. And I'm willing to work with them as well. If the judge isn't here, sometimes I'll step in and try to help individuals as well, like meeting with them at the jail if they're not able to get here during the court times. I'll meet them at the jail, and we do things that way.
Thank you. Judge Kurth, is there anything that our citizens should be aware of during the warrant roundup?
Yeah. We have experienced in some instances scam artists who have basically called folks. Somehow they get public information. They call folks and they represent to them that they're the court or they're the marshal or law enforcement, and they're getting payments directly from these people, from our citizens. Obviously, they're not the court. They're not me. They're not the marshal. What they need to do is always make payment either directly to the court or through trafficpay.com. I didn't mention this. We have another avenue available called GovPayNet. The city of DeSoto is part of that network of cities that participate in the GovPayNet program that's sponsored by the Council of Government, North Texas Council of Government, that enables a person, for example, if they were unfortunately arrested in Arlington and they had DeSoto tickets, they could reach out to GovPayNet and pay those tickets at one central location for DeSoto, Arlington, Euless, wherever they have warrants outstanding. So that's another avenue that's available to people to remove these warrants off of them.
Okay, so a number of ways to take care of those outstanding citations, and we talked about no excuses. And as I sit here, that's what I'm thinking. Citizens have so many opportunities to handle those before the roundup that begins March 7th. How effective is the warrant roundup for the city of DeSoto?
Well, as I said early on, historically, the warrant roundup has been it's effective in a lot of ways. First, as I mentioned, we cleared last year 634 warrants with a value of $134,803.14. That's a lot of money, and that represents a lot of activity for citizens who didn't take care of their business earlier. Now those citizens are able to go back to their work without fear of being arrested or having somebody come to their job. So in that instance, it's very effective. Second, we have seen a residual effect for a number of months from February clear up until June historically in people, the signs may be up for a week advertising the warrant roundup for that 1 or 2 week period. But they'll still, a month later, they'll still see the sign and they'll go, I've got a citation I need to take care of. The residual effect is still out there because the presence of the law enforcement officers, the advertising, Linebarger, our collection agency, is sending out letters notifying these folks. So we benefit from that.
Yes.
And the way we benefit is that the city council and the citizens of DeSoto have a right to expect that all of the money and all of the resources that we have invested in our public safety, our police department, our marshal's office, and police cars, ticket writers, uniforms, training, insurance, all of those things, they have a right to expect that when a citation is issued, that a citizen will submit to the jurisdiction of the court, submit to the process and go all the way through and be found either not guilty or guilty and pay the fine either through a payment plan or lump sum to resolve the case. Otherwise, the court is useless, the police are useless, traffic enforcement is useless. And I think it's important to note that DeSoto in 2014, fiscal year 2013 to 14, had no traffic fatalities. That's amazing. It means that what we do in the court and what the law enforcement officers do, it matters. It matters to the quality of life in DeSoto, Texas. It's one of the reasons why I'm convinced people are coming more and more to our great city to live here and make their lives here and raise their children here. It's a safe city. It's a law-abiding city. It's a reasonable city. We have provided, as I've emphasized, we have provided every opportunity that I can think of, and if somebody else can come up with another one, I'm willing to consider it, to resolve their cases. We don't want marshals going to people's homes or their places of work. That's not good. The other thing is, in making this an effective, the Warrant Roundup effective, it provides our citizens with information on how they can avoid, as I said, the draconian effect of surcharges. Mayor Pro Tem, I see far too many young people, young men in particular, and young women, but more young men, ages 17 through 35, in our jail at 714 East Beltline every single day, who have run afoul of the Driver Responsibility Act. They just get these surcharges. They haven't been responsible to take care of these citations, and so eventually they get arrested. And when they get arrested, they're sitting in jail. They can't work. It affects their ability to maintain their employment. And my point is, we want to avoid all of that. Come down, even if you have a warrant outstanding now, come down and talk to me. And let's get this thing fixed. Let's fix it so it doesn't impact your life.
Thank you, Judge Kurth. And just to recap, I would like for you to go over those dates one more time for the Warrant Roundup. And we want to make sure our citizens don't wait until that time. You've given them all of the incentives and advantages for coming in, and you've given them the hours, but I'd like for you to recap that as we close this session, please.
It's March 7th through March 23rd. Okay. And our marshal is, we're already, in fact, I'll tell you, Mayor Pro Tem, we are actively, even as we speak, reaching out to people who have warrants, who are some of our most egregious violators, and encouraging them through telephone contact to come down to the court, talk to me, and let's get this business taken care of.
Thank you, Judge Kurth. And thank you, Marshal Medlin, for your participation. And I just want to close by saying to our citizens, as you can see, every effort is being made for you to clear up these fines and not be subjected to the Warrant Roundup during the period Judge Kurth has emphasized today. We appreciate, again, the time that the judge and our marshal have spent on this program that the city of DeSoto, your city, has implemented here. We want to, again, commend Judge Kurth and Marshal Medlin on their work in the city of DeSoto. And on behalf of our Honorable Mayor Carl Sherman, the entire City Council, the citizens of DeSoto, we thank you so much. And we look forward to another program in the future just to see what the status of your work has done for our great All-America City.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.